For the holidays in 2001, all Melanie Thornton wanted was to spend Christmas with her family. "I will spend Christmas with my family," she had said.
Spend Christmas with my family in Atlanta. After my last show with Coca-Cola, which is on the 24th in Nuremberg, on the 23rd, sorry, in Nuremberg, I will fly to Atlanta on the 24th, which is our Christmas Eve. I think yours is in Germany as well. And have a nice Christmas morning on the 25th with my family. My mom, my sister and her family, and lots of friends. Just having a great time.
But as fate would have it, those were some of her final words, spoken just before she boarded the plane that tragically crashed, cutting short yet another bright and promising career.
I don't know that tomorrow is not promised, you know? We have to give the most that we possibly can from all of our gifts and talents from God. And, whenever, wherever, enjoy as much as we possibly can, and I don't know, just try to fill everyone.
Maybe it was Aaliyah's sudden passing that overshadowed Melanie's death, but I'll tell you this. The similarities between the two are still chilling to this day. Two incredibly talented young women, radiant and full of potential, both with booming careers and bright futures, both lost in plane crashes in the same year. And strangely enough, it almost feels like they both sensed what was coming.
I mean, I know you're 22.
Yeah, I know.
Like, if you could be okay, this is what I want to be my America as.
I don't know, right now it's hard to say what I want my legacy to be, what I want people to say when I'm long gone. At this point, right now, I'm gonna say that I want people to see me as an entertainer, someone who can do it all. That's how I was trained. My parents, they grew up loving the people of the classic movies, your Sammy Davis Jr.'s, all those people, Fred Astaire, and those kind of artists that could do it all. You had to be able to do it all, and that's how I was trained. And I want people to look at me as a full-on entertainer and a good person. So, we'll talk a few years down the line. We'll see where my head is at then.
Now stay with me, because we already know there's speculation that Aaliyah's death wasn't just an accident. But what if Melanie Thornton's tragedy wasn't either? Did Hollywood chew her up too? Or was this simply an accident? Let's go back for a moment. For those who may not know, Melanie Thornton was born in Charleston, South Carolina, and started studying voice at just 6 years old. She also learned to play piano and clarinet as she grew up. Melanie was inspired by the music of legends like Aretha Franklin and Roberta Flack, often mimicking the vocals she heard on the radio or saw on television. Later on, she financed her college education by performing at talent shows and small concerts, taking whatever gigs she could get. During this time, she became a regular at the Peacock Lounge, where she'd jump in for jam sessions whenever live bands invited people on stage to sing. Now here's what made Melanie special. She always dreamed of a music career. And in February 1991, she made a bold move and went to Germany to pursue that dream. Her sister was already living there with her U.S. Army husband, and thanks to her dual citizenship, Melanie had an easier transition. It was actually her uncle, Bob Chisholm, a singer and pianist himself, who encouraged her to try the German nightclub circuit. At the time, Melanie was making about $50 a night singing with bands in the U.S., but her uncle told her, "Even on a bad night in Germany, you'll make $150. And so, Melanie gave it a shot. She soon began recording demo tracks in various studios, and while working on the song Sweet Dreams, she caught the attention of producer Frank Farian, the same man behind Milli Vanilli. Farian took her under his wing and paired her with rapper Lane McRae to form the duo La Bouche, which means the mouth in French. The two had real chemistry and commercial success. Later on, Melanie left the group to pursue a solo career, which was starting to flourish in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. But tragically, just as things were taking off, everything came to a devastating halt in November 2001. On November 24, 2001, Melanie Thornton and the German-Dutch Eurodance trio Passion Fruit performed as part of the Christmas Coca-Cola tour. Just 2 hours later, they boarded a flight from Berlin to Zurich, Switzerland, for a nightclub performance and a series of TV appearances. During the flight's final descent, Captain Hans Litz allegedly brought the plane down too early while attempting to locate the runway at Zurich Airport. The aircraft crashed into a forested hillside in Bassersdorf, Switzerland. Melanie Thornton was among the 24 passengers who lost their lives in the crash. She was just 34 years old. Two members of Passion Fruit, Maria Serrano and Nathalie Van Het End, also perished. One member, Debbie Street Martin, was among the 9 survivors. Even though Melanie passed away just before the holiday season, Coca-Cola chose to air the commercial featuring her song Wonderful Dream, Holidays Are Coming, as originally planned. Since 2001, the ad has continued to run in Germany each holiday season, and the song has re-entered the German singles charts every year. Now, whenever fans remember Melanie, many can't help but notice the uncanny similarities to Aaliyah's death, which also occurred in 2001. Both women were at the height of their careers, both died in tragic plane crashes, and for many, the circumstances surrounding their deaths still don't sit right. Let's look deeper. By now, it's widely believed that Aaliyah's death wasn't just a tragic accident. And when you examine the timeline and decisions made around her final days, it's easy to see why questions remain. Originally, Aaliyah flew to Miami to film dance scenes for her Rock the Boat video on a green screen set directed by Hype Williams. But in a last-minute change, Hype reportedly decided to relocate the shoot to the Bahamas, even though Miami had all the resources they needed. To this day, no one truly knows why the location was changed, and that's exactly why many fans speculate there may have been ulterior motives. It's also important to note, Aaliyah was terrified of flying. She almost never flew without her mother or brother, and that trip to the Bahamas was the only time she traveled without family. Tragically, that would be her final flight. Initially, Aaliyah was scheduled to stay another day in the Bahamas, but the shoot wrapped early and her team pushed to leave immediately, insisting they board the flight that day. There were also multiple concerns about the aircraft. It was reportedly several hundred pounds over the legal weight limit, making the flight highly unsafe. The pilot had a fake license and, according to reports, may have been under the influence of alcohol and substances. The plane was simply not fit for flight under those conditions. Some believe the narrative about the pilot's incompetence was a cover-up, created to distract from whoever made the decision to overload the plane in the first place. And the most chilling part, Aaliyah may not have been conscious when she boarded. According to journalist Kathy Iandoli in her book, Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah, a young local named Kingsley Russell, whose family provided hospitality for the star, witnessed what happened that day. He was only 13 years old at the time. Russell claims that when Aaliyah saw the small aircraft, she refused to board and returned to the car. She was allegedly expressing concerns about the plane's size and safety. That's when someone from her entourage gave her a sleep aid and she fell asleep in the back seat. Aaliyah was then carried onto the plane while unconscious. And if all that wasn't eerie enough, Aaliyah had given an interview just weeks earlier in Paris. She said, "It's dark in my favorite dream. Someone is after me. I don't know why. I feel fear. Then suddenly, I lift off, I fly away. Far away. How do I feel now? It's like swimming in the air, free and without any weight. No one can reach me. No one can touch me. It's a wonderful feeling." Coincidentally, Melanie Thornton's final album before her death was also titled Ready to Fly.
When Aaliyah died, I was with Barry. When Aaliyah died for a wrongful death, he got paid $90 million for her death. Am I supposed to say that on TV? Sue me. I ain't got nothing. So I was with him on the negotiations. You know what I'm saying?
In addition, there's always been a lingering conspiracy theory floating around that certain people in the industry, like Jay-Z, may have had something to do with Aaliyah's untimely death, allegedly to pave the way for Beyoncé's rise. The theory suggests that since Jay-Z couldn't win Aaliyah's affection, he became obsessed with eliminating her as a perceived rival, so that Queen Bey could claim the spotlight. Some say that explains why it looked like there was quiet tension between Beyoncé and Aaliyah during their final public appearances.
Wasn't this all around the time when Aaliyah died?
Yeah.
And Beyonce's solo career was struggling? Jam on your now, that's some bullshit record. From the Austin Powers was some of the worst ever. They were having a hard time taking her solo. And then Aaliyah died.
Now look, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I have to admit, the circumstances around Aaliyah's death have always felt strange. And when you compare her passing to Melanie Thornton's, the similarities are just too airy to ignore. Two incredibly talented, radiant young women, gone too soon, both in plane crashes, both in the same year. And because of that, people have always wondered, was Melanie's death really an accident? Or could it have been something more intentional? Now, I get it. Melanie wasn't as well known in the US as she was overseas, especially in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So it might sound like a stretch to say the elites would target her, unless there were plans or deals we didn't know about. Because here's what's interesting. When Melanie went solo, she signed with Sony's Epic Records for her debut album, Ready to Fly. And let's be honest, this is Hollywood we're talking about. We've seen what happens to artists who are seen as threats or who refuse to play the game behind the scenes. Did someone get to Melanie too? I don't know, but I'd love to hear what you all think. Is the similarity to Aaliyah's death just coincidence, or does it feel like something more? Was Melanie's death just an accident or something darker? Sound off in the comments below.